Um, Somewhere recently, a phone screen turned toward someone who was not expecting what they were about to see. A photo of you pulled up casually, the way people do when they are scrolling through their gallery or showing off something on their phone without much premeditation. The kind of unplanned moment that happens 100 times a day and then almost never carries any weight, except this time it did. Because the person standing next to the phone, the friend who happened to glance over at exactly the right second, had a reaction that nobody in that room was prepared for, including, I suspect, the person holding the phone. I want to walk you through this slowly, Virgo, because what came through today has layers to it that deserve full attention. This is not a simple surface level reading about someone thinking you look nice in a photograph. There is something underneath this moment that I want to make sure reaches you completely. Let me describe what arrived first when I opened this energy. Because the very first impression I received was not romantic or soft, it was startled. A specific involuntary quality of someone's composure breaking for a fraction of a second before social manners had the chance to smooth it back over. That is what this friend's reaction looked like, not a polite acknowledgement. Not the casual, oh, she's pretty kind of comment that people offer reflexively when glancing at someone else's phone and then moving their attention elsewhere, something closer to a stop. A genuine pause where their expression shifted before they had consciously decided what reaction would be appropriate to perform. You stopped a relative stranger in their tracks through a single photograph. And I want to be specific about why this matters, because the why is more significant than the moment itself. I am being shown the setting where this happened. Casual, unplanned, not a moment anyone orchestrated or anticipated. Two people talking about something ordinary. The kind of low stakes conversation that fills an afternoon or an evening without anyone expecting it to become memorable. And somewhere within that conversation, your name or your image entered the space. The person scrolling through their phone was not trying to show off a photo of you with any specific agenda. They were not setting up a moment to gauge their friend's reaction. They were simply sharing something the way people naturally do when someone occupies real space in their life and their phone happens to contain evidence of that. And the friend, the one encountering your image, perhaps for the first time, or perhaps simply seeing a photo they had not come across before, had a response that revealed something genuine. Their face did something their mouth had not yet caught up to. A widening of the eyes, a slight forward lean, the kind people make instinctively when they want to look closer at something without drawing too much attention to the fact that they are looking closer. This is the body responding before social filtering has the chance to intervene. And it is one of the most honest reactions a person can produce, precisely because it happens before anyone consciously decides what reaction is appropriate to display. Let me speak to what specifically caught their attention, because it was not simply that you looked good in the photo, though I am certain you did. What caught them was something underneath the surface of the image itself. There is a quality some people carry in photographs that has nothing to do with lighting or angle or any of the technical elements people typically obsess over when taking or judging pictures. It is presence. The sense, even through a flat screen, even through pixels arranged in a particular configuration, that there is someone real and specific and genuinely alive behind the eyes captured in that frame. Most photographs do not carry this quality. Most photographs are pleasant and forgettable in roughly equal measure, the kind of image you scroll past without your attention catching on anything in particular. Yours apparently was not forgettable. Yours had the specific magnetism of a person whose interior depth somehow translates even into a static image. This friend was responding to something they could not fully articulate in that initial moment. A sense of who is that paired immediately with a sense of why does that feel more significant than it should. That combination, curiosity and unexpected emotional weight arriving simultaneously, is what produced the visible reaction. Um, Spirit is showing me something more specific now about the actual texture of this reaction, and I want to slow down and receive it properly. This was not just a flicker of interest that came and went within seconds. The friend held their gaze on the photo longer than the moment naturally called for. There was a beat of silence in the conversation, the specific kind of silence that happens when someone's attention has genuinely been captured and they are processing something rather than simply continuing the social flow of the exchange. And then came the questions. Not casual, not asked simply to fill an awkward pause, but with real curiosity behind them. Who is that? How do you know them? What is the story there? I want you to understand what this means. People do not ask follow-up questions about images that landed neutrally. They move on. The fact that this friend paused, looked closer, and then actively wanted more information tells you that something about your presence in that photograph registered as significant enough to warrant pursuit. Now, I want to address the conversation that happened after, because the initial reaction was only the opening moment, and what followed is where this becomes genuinely interesting. The friend asked about you with real curiosity, and the person holding the phone, the one connected to you in whatever capacity they are currently connected, had to actually put into words what you are to them, or what they wish you were to them, or what they have been quietly hoping might develop between you without having said any of it out loud before this moment. Sometimes being asked to articulate something out loud forces a clarity that internal thought never quite manages to produce on its own. We carry feelings privately, sometimes for a long time, without ever having to organize them into actual sentences that another human being is going to hear and respond to. The act of speaking changes the feeling, makes it more solid, more real, harder to quietly minimize afterward. I am sensing that this person's answer was not neutral. There was warmth in how they described you, possibly more warmth than they expected to hear coming out of their own mouth. The kind of moment where someone hears themselves speaking and registers, almost with surprise, just how much feeling is present in their own voice. Does this feel like something is stirring around you that you have only caught glimpses of so far? Let me know in the comments if you have sensed someone's energy shifting towards you recently, even in small, hard to name ways. I want to know how this is landing for you. I want to talk about what this moment meant for the person connected to you, because their experience of it matters and deserves its own examination. Watching someone else react strongly to a photo of a person you already have feelings for tends to do something specific to the nervous system. It validates an internal experience that the person may have been quietly sitting with, sometimes downplaying even to themselves, because feelings that have not been spoken out loud or witnessed by anyone else can start to feel less real over time. The mind has a way of questioning whether something was ever as strong as it felt, especially when it has been carried in silence. Watching a friend's genuine, visible, unprompted reaction to your photo confirmed something for this person. It told them, without anyone needing to say it directly, that what they feel toward you is not an exaggeration happening only inside their own head. Someone else, someone with no investment in flattering them or validating their feelings, looked at you and had a real, observable response. That kind of external confirmation often does something significant to a person's internal confidence. It can become the push that moves someone from quietly admiring you from a comfortable distance to actually considering doing something about what they feel. I am picking up that this moment happened more recently than you might initially assume, not in some distant, faded past, close, within a time frame that still has its energy active and moving rather than settled and forgotten. Spirit is showing me that this small, seemingly insignificant exchange between two friends looking at a phone screen sets something in motion that is still unfolding. The person connected to you has been thinking about you with a bit more intention since this happened, not because anything dramatic occurred in that moment itself, but because being asked to describe what you mean to them and hearing themselves answer with more genuine feeling than they expected shifted something internally that has not fully settled back into its previous, more managed state. I want to be honest about something here because this reading would not be complete or trustworthy without this layer of nuance. A reaction like this, while genuinely meaningful and worth paying attention to, is not automatically the whole story of whether someone is going to act on their feelings. People can feel strongly, can be moved by external validation, can have moments of clarity and still hesitate, still wait, still need more than one piece of evidence before they are ready to move towards something real and spoken. So I am not telling you that this single photo moment guarantees a grand gesture is imminent or that a declaration is about to land in your inbox tomorrow. What I am telling you is that it added real weight to something that was already quietly present. It is one significant piece of evidence in a larger picture that has been building layer by layer for some time now. Let me speak to your own energy in all of this, because you deserve attention here too. Not only the people who are reacting to your image from a distance. There is something happening in you lately, an increased ease in how you carry yourself, a settling into your own presence that does not require external validation in order to feel solid and complete. This is not unrelated to what is happening around you. People respond to genuine self-possession even when they cannot consciously name what they are responding to. The photo that produced this friend's reaction likely captured a version of you that feels more like yourself than performances of yourself sometimes do. Not a curated, careful presentation designed to impress. Something closer to the real thing. The actual depth that exists in you, visible even through a static image. Because depth has a way of showing through when someone is genuinely comfortable inside their own skin. This is worth noticing. Not because you need anyone's reaction to confirm your worth. Your worth was never contingent on being witnessed. But because it is a sign that whatever inner work you have been quietly doing, the patience, the growth, the slow process of becoming more fully yourself, is now visible to other people in ways you may not have fully registered until this reading named it. Inhale with me for a moment, Virgo. I want to speak to something about timing because I feel it is relevant here. This moment with the photo did not happen randomly or in isolation from everything else occurring in your life right now. It is connected to a broader shift in your energy. The same quality that made this friend stop and look twice is the same quality that has been quietly opening doors in other areas of your life as well. Even if you have not yet connected all the dots, when a person becomes more fully themselves, more settled, more genuinely present, the effect ripples outward. It is not contained to a single interaction or a single photograph. It shows up in how people respond to you across multiple contexts, even ones you are not directly aware of. This photo moment is simply the piece of evidence that happened to make its way back to you, the one small window into a much larger pattern of how your energy is currently being received by the people around you. Let me speak now to what comes next in this specific thread, because Spirit rarely shows a moment like this without it being connected to something still unfolding in real time. Watch for a shift in how the person connected to you engages with you going forward. Not necessarily dramatic, possibly subtle, slightly increased presence in conversation, a quicker response time than what has been typical, a small increase in effort or attentiveness that signals something has been stirred internally, even if nothing has been said directly yet. Trust your own perception here, because your discernment is sharp and you will likely feel this shift before you are able to fully explain or articulate it. There is often a gap between sensing that something has changed in someone's energy and having concrete evidence to point to. Honor the sensing. It is usually accurate. And if nothing visibly changes right away, I want you to understand that this is also completely normal and does not mean the moment did not matter. Internal shifts do not always move at the speed we want them to move at. Sometimes a seed is planted and it requires time before any growth becomes visible above the surface. The planting still occurred. The moment still mattered. Patience here is not passive waiting. It is trust in a process that is already in motion. I want to speak to something else that came through, which is the quality of how this person now holds your image, your memory, your presence in their mind following this exchange with their friend. There is a tenderness that develops when someone has to defend or describe their feelings to another person, even informally, even without realizing that is what they are doing. The act of speaking about you out loud, of having to find words for what you represent to them, often deepens the feeling rather than simply reporting on it. It is one thing to feel something privately. It is another thing entirely to hear yourself give voice to it in front of a witness. This person now carries a slightly more solidified version of their feelings for you, less abstract, less easily dismissed in a moment of doubt, because they have already, in a small and unplanned way, claimed those feelings out loud to someone else. As I bring this reading toward its close, I want to leave you with the full picture of what came through today. A photo of you, shared casually and without any particular intention, produced a genuine, visible, unscripted reaction in someone who was not expecting to be affected. That reaction validated something the person connected to you had been quietly carrying. It pushed them, even slightly, toward more clarity about what they feel and possibly toward more willingness to act on it. None of this required you to do anything except be exactly who you are in the photograph that was shared. You did not orchestrate this moment. You did not need to. The quality of your presence did the work on its own, the way genuine presence tends to do when it is finally allowed to simply exist without performance or apology. Stay attentive in the coming days to small shifts in how this person shows up for you. And regardless of what happens next in that specific connection, let this reading remind you of something larger and more permanent than any single interaction. You are someone whose presence registers, whose image carries weight, whose realness comes through even in something as simple and ordinary as a photograph on a friend's phone screen. That is not a small thing to carry with you. If this reading resonated with you today, please share it with a Virgo who could use a reminder of their own quiet impact on the people around them. And let me know in the comments if something about this story felt familiar to your own life right now, even in a small way. I read every single word you share. Every story matters to me, and I carry your energy with genuine care long after this video ends. Until next time, Virgo, keep showing up exactly as yourself. It is clearly working in ways you have not even fully seen yet.